Let's begin by unpacking what it truly means to desexualize your mind. At first glance, this phrase might sound restrictive or even unnatural, but it's important to clarify. It's not about denying or suppressing your natural sexuality. It's not about repressing an essential part of who you are. Rather, it's about stepping back from a constant, overwhelming flood of sexual thoughts, images, and stimuli that invade your mental space every single day. In today's world, sexual content is everywhere. It's in advertisements, entertainment, social media, and conversations. The mind is constantly bombarded, and this creates a kind of mental saturation. When your thoughts are persistently fixated on sex, it can feel like you're carrying around a distraction, one that pulls your attention away from other important aspects of your life, your goals, your creativity, your relationships, your personal growth. Desexualizing your mind means reclaiming your mental landscape. It means taking the power to decide what fills your inner world. Instead of allowing sexual urges and fantasies to dominate your thoughts involuntarily, you train yourself to observe these impulses without becoming enslaved by them. You begin to notice the difference between natural desire and compulsive thinking, between healthy attraction and habitual distraction. This shift is not about guilt or shame, it's about choice. It's about creating space within your mind where other, more constructive thoughts can grow. Imagine a garden overwhelmed by weeds. The weeds represent excessive sexual fixation, taking up all the sunlight and nutrients. Desexualizing is like pulling out those weeds so the flowers and trees of your intellect, ambition, and peace can flourish. In this sense, desexualizing your mind is a form of mental hygiene. It's about cultivating a clean, clear, and focused mental environment. And when the mind becomes less cluttered by constant sexual stimulation, it naturally becomes more receptive to ideas, more disciplined in thought, and more capable of deep, meaningful reflection. Now, let's dive deeper into how an overload of sexual stimuli impacts the clarity of your mind. When your mental space is crowded with constant sexual imagery or thoughts, it's like trying to see through a fog. This fog clouds your ability to think clearly, to focus deeply, and to make thoughtful decisions. Sexual content is designed to grab your attention. It activates powerful parts of your brain linked to pleasure and reward. But when that stimulation becomes excessive, your brain starts to prioritize it above other important functions. Your mental resources get pulled away from things like problem solving, creativity, or even simple day concentration. Imagine trying to concentrate on a complex task, but your mind keeps drifting back to sexual images or fantasies. That tug-of-war inside your brain can cause frustration and mental fatigue. Over time, this drains your mental energy and reduces your capacity for sustained focus. Moreover, sexual overload can contribute to a sort of mental restlessness. Your thoughts become scattered, jumping quickly from one thing to another, never settling long enough for true insight or deep reflection to occur. This scattered thinking is a barrier to learning, growth, and even emotional stability. There's also a neurological angle to consider. The brain's reward system releases dopamine when exposed to sexual stimuli, creating a cycle of craving and reward that can become compulsive. This dopamine-driven loop makes it harder to resist distractions and weakens your ability to prioritize long-term goals over immediate gratification. In short, when your mind is constantly flooded with sexual stimuli, it loses the sharpness it needs to navigate life effectively. Clarity becomes elusive, and decisions can become impulsive rather than deliberate. This overload doesn't just affect your thoughts. It seeps into your emotions, your motivation, and your overall sense of well-being. Now, let's explore the powerful connection between sexual energy and productivity. Sexual energy is one of the most potent forces within us, raw, intense, and deeply creative. But when this energy is scattered or wasted on fleeting gratification, its transformative potential is lost. Think of sexual energy as a kind of fuel. When directed wisely, it can power your drive to achieve, innovate, and create. Great artists, inventors, and leaders throughout history have often spoken about harnessing this energy and channeling it into their work rather than letting it dissipate. When your mind is free from constant sexual distractions, that energy no longer leaks away. Instead, it builds up, becoming a reservoir of motivation and vitality. This inner reserve propels you forward, whether you're tackling a challenging project, learning a new skill, or setting out to change your life. This doesn't mean denying or repressing your sexuality. It means cultivating awareness and self-control, choosing where and how that energy flows. When sexual energy is conserved and consciously redirected, it ignites focus and resilience. You find yourself with more stamina to work through obstacles and a sharper mental edge to solve problems. Furthermore, sexual energy is closely tied to confidence and assertiveness. When you're not exhausted by compulsive sexual thoughts or habits, you feel more grounded in your sense of self. This groundedness fuels boldness to take risks, to pursue your passions with intensity, and to communicate with clarity and conviction. In practical terms, this means that the very same energy that might have been scattered or wasted can become your greatest asset. It becomes the spark that lights your ambition and keeps the fire of productivity burning bright. Let's turn our attention now to how freeing your mind from sexual preoccupation leads directly to emotional balance. When your thoughts aren't dominated by persistent sexual urges or fantasies, your emotional landscape begins to calm and stabilize. Sexual fixation can create an emotional roller coaster. Desire, frustration, jealousy, and anxiety often ride side by side, stirring up inner turmoil. These emotions, fueled by an unregulated mind, can make you feel like you're at the mercy of forces beyond your control. The highs feel too intense, the lows too deep, and peace becomes a distant memory. But when you begin to desexualize your mind, you create a space where these emotional storms lose their grip. Without the constant stimulation and the accompanying emotional spikes, your mood evens out. You experience fewer impulsive reactions and more thoughtful responses. This mental freedom also helps reduce anxiety linked to performance, appearance, or approval. Without the pressure to constantly seek or live up to sexual expectations, whether from yourself or society, you feel lighter, more authentic. Your self-worth becomes less tied to how you are perceived in this narrow realm. Emotional balance isn't about dulling your feelings or becoming indifferent. Rather, it's about gaining mastery over your inner world so that emotions flow naturally without overwhelming or controlling you. This balance creates resilience, meaning you bounce back faster from setbacks and handle life's challenges with grace. Moreover, a mind unburdened by compulsive sexual distractions is more present. You connect more deeply to yourself and to others. This presence is the foundation for genuine happiness and emotional well-being. Now, let's explore how desexualizing your mind can transform your relationships, taking them far beyond the surface level of physical attraction. When your thoughts aren't constantly preoccupied with sexual desire, you begin to see people and your connections with them in a richer, deeper light. Relationships built solely on physical attraction can often be fleeting, fragile, and unfulfilling. They rely heavily on external appearance and momentary desire, which can shift or fade over time. But when the mind steps back from constant sexual fixation, it opens up space for connection based on respect, trust, and genuine understanding. Without the distraction of sexual urges dominating your interactions, you become more present and attentive to the other person's thoughts, feelings, and needs. This allows for real conversations, emotional intimacy, and shared vulnerability, qualities that create lasting bonds. Desexualizing your mind also encourages you to appreciate people as whole individuals rather than just objects of desire. This shift fosters empathy and kindness, breaking down barriers that superficial attraction can sometimes build. You learn to value qualities like intelligence, humor, kindness, and integrity, enriching your connections in ways that go beyond physicality. Moreover, this mental shift changes how you approach conflict and communication. When your mind isn't clouded by sexual tension or frustration, you're better equipped to handle disagreements calmly and thoughtfully. This leads to healthier, more constructive relationships. In essence, desexualizing your mind invites you to engage with others on a deeper level, a level where trust, respect, and true companionship thrive, setting the foundation for more meaningful and enduring relationships. Let's dive into how desexualizing your mind directly boosts your self-control and discipline, two of the most powerful tools for success in any area of life. When you're no longer constantly pulled by sexual impulses, you reclaim control over your actions, thoughts, and decisions. Sexual urges, when left unchecked, can lead to impulsive behavior. They create a cycle of instant gratification that weakens your ability to delay pleasure or resist temptation. This lack of control can spill over into other parts of life, making it harder to stick to routines, maintain healthy habits, or stay committed to your goals. But as you practice desexualization, you strengthen the mental muscle that allows you to pause and choose your response rather than react reflexively. This builds willpower, enabling you to say no to distractions and yes to what truly matters. Self-discipline grows from this foundation. When you master your impulses, you build confidence in your ability to steer your own life. You stop feeling like a passenger on a runaway train and become the deliberate driver, navigating toward your vision with intention. Increased discipline also sharpens your time management. Instead of wasting hours consumed by sexual distractions, you allocate your energy and focus to productive, meaningful activities. This shift creates momentum, small victories that compound into significant achievements. Furthermore, the sense of accomplishment that comes with self-control feeds back into your motivation. Every time you overcome an urge, you reinforce your belief in yourself. This virtuous cycle strengthens not only your discipline, but your overall sense of personal power and freedom. Now, let's explore how desexualizing your mind brings remarkable clarity to your life's purpose and vision. When your mental energy isn't scattered by constant sexual distractions, the fog that clouds your deeper goals begins to lift, revealing what truly matters to you. Often, sexual preoccupation acts like static noise that drowns out your inner voice, the part of you that knows what you want, what excites you, and what legacy you wish to leave behind. By quieting this noise, you create mental space to listen to your intuition and reflect on your authentic desires beyond immediate pleasure. With a desexualized mind, you start to see your potential more clearly. You begin to recognize talents, interests, and passions that may have been buried under layers of distraction. This renewed focus allows you to set goals aligned with your true self, rather than chasing momentary gratification or societal expectations. Clarity of purpose is the compass that guides your decisions and actions. When your mind is clear, every step you take feels intentional and meaningful. You become more resilient in the face of challenges because you know what you're working toward and why it matters. Moreover, a clear vision for your life fuels motivation. It transforms mundane tasks into stepping stones towards something greater. Without sexual distractions, your mind can plan strategically, prioritize effectively, and act decisively. In this state, procrastination and confusion lose their grip. You gain a heightened sense of direction, a roadmap that guides you steadily forward, no longer tossed around by impulsive desires or fleeting distractions. Let's now explore how desexualizing your mind opens the door to profound spiritual and psychological growth. When sexual distractions lessen, you create a fertile ground for self-awareness and inner exploration, allowing your consciousness to expand beyond surface-level desires. Sexual energy, when misdirected or overindulged, often keeps the mind tethered to the physical realm, limiting its ability to connect with deeper dimensions of experience. By calming this constant stimulation, you free your mind to explore questions about meaning, purpose, and existence, questions that lead to spiritual awakening. Psychologically, desexualization helps you move past habitual patterns rooted in instant gratification. It encourages a shift from reactive living to reflective living, fostering maturity, emotional intelligence, and a stronger sense of identity. This process nurtures mindfulness, the ability to be fully present with your thoughts and feelings without being overwhelmed by them. As mindfulness grows, so does your capacity to observe impulses without acting on them impulsively, breaking free from cycles of compulsion. Spiritually, many traditions speak of sexual energy as a powerful force that can be transmuted into higher states of consciousness. By consciously redirecting this energy, you can access deeper peace, heightened intuition, and a sense of unity with something greater than yourself. On a psychological level, this growth manifests as increased resilience, improved emotional regulation, and a more balanced, harmonious inner life. You begin to understand yourself in a more holistic way, integrating body, mind, and spirit. In essence, desexualizing your mind is not just about limiting distractions. It's about elevating your entire being, opening pathways to wisdom, compassion, and a profound sense of inner freedom. Would you like me to expand point 9 next? Absolutely. Here's an expanded version of point 9, practical steps to begin the process in that audiobook style. Finally, let's talk about practical steps you can take to begin desexualizing your mind. Actions that set you on a path toward greater mental clarity and rapid life transformation. First, start by becoming aware of your environment and the stimuli you expose yourself to. This means consciously limiting consumption of sexualized media, whether it's certain TV shows, advertisements, social media.